Decimals, as you might remember, are the evil robots in Transformers. And they're something to do with maths too. Back in the days, there were two types of people. People who studied English and people who studied maths. The maths bunch always wanted what the people who studied English had, and when the English bunch invented the full stop, the maths lot wanted their own version. And so the decimal point was born. The decimal point not only looks the same as a full stop, but it also does a pretty similar job to it too. Where the full stop indicates the end of a sentence, the decimal point shows the end of a whole number. This means that every time you see a number written as a decimal, you know that everything before the decimal point is a whole number, and everything after it is less than a whole number. You could say that a decimal point separates the whole number from the parts of the whole number. The most common use of decimals is when you look at the price of something. Every number before the decimal point is a whole number, in this case pounds, and everything after is pence, and the decimal point separates the two. If you had a pound and broke it down into 10 equal parts, then each part would be a tenth of the pound, a 10p piece. And if you broke that pound into 100 equal parts, then each part would be worth 100th of a pound, a 1p piece. Let's say that you've got £156 and 28 pence. You'd write it down like this. If you were to break it down further, then you could write it like this. Here are a few other examples. Of course, other things are written as decimals too. Your sat-nav might tell you that you're 3.6 miles from your destination. The 3 is the whole number, in this case miles, and the 6 represents 6/10 of a mile. Your car might take 56.2 litres of fuel when you fill up at a petrol station. So you have 56 whole litres and 2/10 of a litre. Sometimes you can use decimals to indicate fractions too. For example, you could say that the water is 1.5 metres deep, but write it as 1.5 metres. This is because 5/10 is exactly half of the whole number, in the same way that 50p is exactly half of a pound. If you wanted a quarter pounder for lunch, you could write it as 0.25, because 4 of them would make up a whole pound, and possibly lead to indigestion. Here are a few fractions. See if you could turn these into decimals. And so to recap. When you see a decimal written down, everything before the decimal point is a whole number, and everything after is part of the whole number. Decimals can also be used to represent fractions, with some of the most common being 0.25 to show a quarter, 0.5 to show a half, and 0.1 to show a tenth. If you get stuck, then remember that when you see a price, this is also a decimal, unlike Optimus Prime, who is of course an Autobot.